Hello friends, welcome to the Viva Voice of Anatomy. Today we discuss a radiological anatomy of a lower limb. But before that we see how to read the radiological film or a X-ray film. For that you can watch our video Radiological Anatomy of Upper Limb, whose link is given below. Now we discuss about the radiology of a lower limb in detail one by one. The first radiological film or X-ray film is of a hip joint. So now we discuss the X-ray or a radiological film of a hip joint. The first, how to read this radiological film. The first you have to describe the type of the film or X-ray. It is a plain or a simple type of the X-ray, because there is no special position is given to the patient or no any contrast radio opaque dye is used in this X-ray. So it is a plain or a simple type of the X-ray. The view is a AP view. The bones seen are antero-posteriorly. So it is a AP view, and the region shown in the X-ray are a bilateral hip joint with the bony pelvis. Now we see in this X-ray all the possible bones which can be seen. Here we can see the upper part of the two femora, the two hip bone, the sacrum, lower lumbar vertebrae. The joints formed between these bones are: the first joint is a hip joint, which is a ball and socket variety of synovial joint. The sacroiliac joint, they are paired, plain variety of synovial joint. Pubic symphysis is a secondary cartilaginous joint. Intervertebral joint, which is a secondary cartilaginous joint. Now we see the different parts of a bone. In case of the femur, you can see this rounded head, the neck which connecting the head with the greater and the lesser trochanter. This one is the greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, and intertrochanteric crest. This is the upper part of the shaft. The neck is united with the shaft with an angle. This is known as a neck shaft angle. This angle is 125 degree in adult, more in the female, and 140 degree in children. Now in the neck shaft angle, you can see here there is a dense plate of a compact bond which is forming the buttress to thicken the neck shaft angle in front of the lesser trochanter, known as calcar femoral. The importance of it transmits the weight of a body from the head to the linea aspera of the femur. Now such another compact bond, thickening of the compact bond is seen in the upper border of a neck extending from the head to the greater trochanter, which is known as a cervical torus. So these are the part of a femur. Now we see the part of the hip bone. Hip bone is made up of three parts: ilium bone, pubic bone, and the ischium bone. Ilium bone lies superiorly. Upper convex margin of a ilium is known as the iliac crest. Its anterior end is known as the anterior superior iliac spine. Few centimeters below lies anterior inferior iliac spine. Same way posteriorly, posterior superior iliac spine, posterior inferior iliac spine. Here below there is an inverted projection is seen, which is known as a ischial spine. Second part is a pubic bone. The pubic bone lies antero-inferiorly in the hip bone. It is having three parts. This is the body of the pubis, superior ramus, inferior ramus. Third part is a ischium, which is having a body of the ischium and the ramus of the ischium. The ramus of the ischium unite with the ramus of the pubic bone to form the conjoined ischiopubic ramus. These three bonds united at a one point which is known as a acetabulum, to which head of the femur is united. The other ones seen are a sacrum and the lumbar vertebrae. Now we see the other things which should be seen in this X-ray. That is a sentence line. The first, what is a sentence line and what is its clinical importance? Sentence line indicate the normal relation of a head of the femur with the acetabulum, and it is formed by a continuous curved line formed by the upper border of the obturator foramen and the lower border of a neck of a femur. So this is called a sentence line. If it is continuous in position, then the head of the femur is aligned very well with the acetabulum. If the center line is disrupted, that indicate the either dislocation of a hip joint or a fracture of a neck of the femur. The second such line is a Bryant's line. The Bryant's line is measured as a vertical distance between the highest point of the greater trochanter to the horizontal line which is passing from the anterior superior iliac spine. Normally this distance is a 5 centimeter. Any departure indicate a deformity either unilateral or a bilateral. Third line is a Knee-Leyton's line, which is not clinically so much important. It is formed by joining the anterior superior iliac spine and the ischial tuberosity, and it is passes through the highest point of a greater trochanter. If the greater trochanter falls above or below this line, it indicates the deformity, like a dislocation or a dislocation of the head, a hip joint, or a deformity of femoral neck. Exact position of the ischial tuberosity is difficult to locate, so the importance of the Knee-Leyton's line is less important. So this is about a X-ray of a hip joint. Now we see the second X-ray, that is a X-ray of a knee joint. The first, how to read this X-ray? First type, it is a plain or a simple type antero-posterior view of a knee joint. The bones seen in this joint are lower part of the femur, upper part of a tibia, and upper part of the fibula. Here you can see in the lower end of the femur there is a projection of overshadow of one bone. This bone is a patella, which overlaps the lower part of front of a lower part of the femur, 1 centimeter above the knee joint. Which are the joints, possible joint seen in this X-ray? The first is a knee joint, which is a bicondylar variety of synovial joint or a modified hinge joint. Second, superior tibiofibular joint, it is a plain variety of synovial joint, and patellofemoral joint, it is a saddle variety of synovial joint. The parts of the bone seen in this X-ray, this is the femur, this one is a medial side, this one is a lateral side. The fibula lies laterally, so this is the lateral side. The parts of the femur are, this is the medial condyle with the medial epicondyle, above the medial epicondyle, medial supracondylar ridge. This is the lateral condyle, lateral epicondyle, lateral supracondylar ridge. The part of the tibia, this is medial condyle of tibia, lateral condyle of tibia, and intercondylar area. This is the upper part of the shaft. In case of the fibula, this is the head of the fibula, neck of the fibula, upper part of the shaft. So this is a AP view of a knee joint. Now next X-ray, Knee joint lateral view. This is the plain or a simple type lateral view of a knee joint showing the bone, again lower end of the femur, upper end of the tibia, upper end of the fibula and patella. Patella is very well clearly seen in the lateral view. You can see it lies in the front of the lower end of the femur, 1 centimeter above a knee joint. The parts seen, the part of the bones which is seen, lower shaft, femur, the two condyle of the femur overlapping with each other, patella, two condyle of the tibia overlapping with each other. Here you can see the tibial tuberosity in the anterior aspect of the upper end of the shaft, and this is a fibula. So this is a knee joint lateral view. Now another X-ray of a knee joint lateral view, in which you can see behind the condyle of a femur the small bony nodule is seen. This is the fibula bone. The fibula is a sesamoid bone which is developed in the lateral head of a gastrocnemius. So it lies in relation to the lateral condyle of the femur. It is 1 to 1.5 centimeter in the diameter in the form of the bony nodule. Present in the 15% of the individual, and as a rule it is bilateral. So the fibula sometimes you can see in the lateral view. The next is a special view to see the patella. It is a skyline view or a sunrise view. Now this view, it is a infero-superior axial position of a patella, right? This is a special view to see the patella in the patient having suspecting to have a fracture or a dislocation of the patella, which is not visible in the AP and the lateral view of a knee joint, skyline or a sunrise view. The last X-ray in the lower limb is of a foot. First we read this X-ray. This is a plain type AP view of a foot showing all the possible bone. We start from the proximal to distal here, but before that identify the medial and the lateral side. This is the great toe having a two phalanges. This one lies on the medial side, this one on the lateral side. So proximal to distal, the bone identified are the part of a medial malleolus, lateral malleolus. Here you can see the shadow of the talus bone, which is overlapped by the shadow of a calcaneum. Talus anteriorly articulate with the navicular bone, calcaneum articulate anteriorly with the cuboid bone. Medial to the cuboid, these are three cuneiform bone: medial, intermediate, lateral, cuneiform bone. Distal to it, there are first, second, third, fourth, 5 metatarsal bone. This is the base of metatarsal, shaft of metatarsal, head of metatarsal, and distal to it of phalanges, 14 phalanges. In case of the great toe, there are 2 phalanges, proximal and the distal. In the rest of the forefinger, 3 phalanges, proximal, middle and the distal. Here you can see in relation to the head of a first metatarsal bone, the 2 bony nodule is seen, which is a sesamoid bone. The last, foot lateral view or a lateral view of an ankle joint. It is the plain or a simple type lateral view of a foot, or you can say the ankle joint. The bones which are seen are a lower end of the tibia, shadow of the lower end of the fibula. Below the tibia, this is the talus bone, this is the calcaneum bone. In the lateral view, you can clearly see the talus and the calcaneum. In front of the talus, see, in front of the talus, the boat-shaped navicular bone, and in front of the calcaneum, anterior surface of the calcaneum unite with a cuboid bone. So by that way, you can identify the navicular and the cuboid. These are three cuneiform bones which are overlapping with each other. Metatarsal bone also overlapping with each other, as well as phalanges. Now, which are the possible joint you can see in this X-ray? Between the tibia and the fibula lower end, there is a lower tibiofibular joint which is formed by the ligament. So, it is a syndesmosis type of the fibrous joint. The second is an ankle joint between the lower end of the tibia and the upper surface of the body of the talus. Ankle joint is a hinge variety of synovial joint. Between the talus and the calcaneum form the subtalar joint, which is a plane variety of synovial joint. Navicular and the calcaneum talo-naviculo-calcaneal joint is formed, which is a ball and socket variety of synovial joint. This is cubo-calcaneal joint between the cuboid bone and the calcaneum, which is a saddle variety of synovial joint. Rest intertarsal joint are plane variety of synovial joint. Tarso-metatarsal joint is also a plane variety of synovial joint. Intermetatarsal joint is a plane variety of synovial joint. Metatarsophalangeal joint is a ellipsoid variety of synovial joint, and interphalangeal joint is a hinge variety of synovial joint. So this is the last X-ray of a lower limb. Again, it is also a lateral view of the foot. Tibia, fibula, talus, calcaneum. Here you can see the fracture line of the calcaneum. This is navicular, cuboid, cuneiform, metatarsal, phalanges. So this is all about a radiological anatomy of lower limb. Thank you. If you like our video, kindly like it, subscribe our channel, and you can share with your friends.